Welcome viewers, once again this is the Cardinal talk show that comes to you on LTN every Sunday, where we discuss political matters that get happening every time, anytime in Kenya, because we know this country has a lot of political matters that must be discussed. Each and every Sunday we sit down here to look at them intricately, look and discuss on matters that are supposed to help us shape the country in a way that is supposed to be governable, democratic, and also inclusive for all of us. Today I'm seated here with my panelists. I've got Samson Ojeyo, Director at the Water. Karibu sana.
Asante.
I've got Anthony Yaragenya, who is an ardent patriot. He says he's an ardent patriot. I don't know what it means to be an ardent patriot. I don't know how you're a patriotic Kenyan than others, but then we take it like you say it every day. Otherwise, now, gentlemen, this week has been a week of so much noise in the political circles because of storming of Iebc offices. It's a matter that has actually brought about a dimension that for a long time Kenyans have not been able to see. The riots, the tear gas, the mass actions. These things for a good time now has never been seen in Kenya. However, let's talk about the matter that we want to discuss here. Iebc, as it is constituted right now and the way it is, opposition says it's not supposed to be there to midwife the next general elections. The churches have also said that. We've seen civil society and even the Law Society of Kenya coming on board to say that Iebc has to be reconstituted. What is the best way forward out of this crisis? Because the government insists Iebc can still remain there. Now, our discussion today must center on the fact that can this crisis be dealt with in a better way than what we are seeing, the mass actions, throwing of words here and there? Is there a better way of handling this problem?
Well, I think, Nick, the topic is nice, actually. It's very important, actually, to maybe to talk about Iebc. And the begging question which we need to ask, are we debating about Iebc because of their conduct per se, or somebody is trying to do it simply because he's worried about the next general election after realizing that he's not in a position to win? Number two, my worry is only going back, actually, not to CORD per se, but as an individual by the name Raila Amolo Odinga, who is actually one of the serious people in this country who have been crusading for actually change and bringing the constitution. The other time when the workers of this world were in those offices, those were just some kind of appointment which were done with the president and all that. And the president had power to sack. Today, as we are talking about, we've created the 2010 constitution have created some offices. One of them is that Iebc. We know actually how the formula on how, if you want to get rid of an individual or you want to get rid of the people who are working in that institution, what you need to do. It's not going down the street. It's actually looking for a way on how to do it. Here is a case whereby, I'm not saying that the government, because that's what we are saying, that Iebc cannot go. They will not say that Iebc cannot go. President keeps on saying that, in fact, you must follow the right channel. The right channel does not mean that he's saying that the right channel is that they're not going to go. And remember, even President said yesterday when he was in Kisii, that he do not have power to remove one commissioner. He do not have it. He do not have it. So running down the street will not make the Iebc go. It will only create a lot of tension, but at the end of the day, we are going to achieve nothing. Yes, they can resign. Now the question is, after resigning, what do we want them to do? Or who do we want to do? Do Raila have a say who is going to be the chair of that Iebc? Because remember, they're the ones who came with these people together with Kibaki at the other time. It was not about Uhuru, neither Ruto. It was Raila himself and former president. Here's a case whereby Raila himself talking about the people they brought into this position, that he want to get rid of them. So that's what I'm simply saying. Yes, dialogue, yes. But you are dialoguing because Raila, the Iebc, Raila did not win 2013, or you are dialoguing because Raila is worried about election 2017, which is not going to win anyway.
Yes, Anthony. I think the questions I would have given have already been given by Samson. Is it because Raila and his brigade things are not going to win the elections, or is it because they are carrying the bad memories of the loss they had in 2013 forward into Iebc?
Nick, I remember when Barack Obama was in Ghana, the first visit he did to Africa. And in his speech he said that Africa don't need strong men. What Africa needs is strong institutions.
Yes.
But there are many times when those institutions fails you. So what do? And you know that the IEBC, the current IEBC, the people they did business with in UK, somebody with a son is actually in jail. In other words, the person who gave them a bribe is actually in jail.
In jail.
The receiver of the bribe is not in jail. Who has the power to investigate in Kenya? It is the police. Who is the commander-in-chief of the police? Is the president. So if and the commissioners of IEBC are public officers. So if the investigation had been done properly, these commissioners would not be in the office now. But I don't want just to talk about the commissioners, because the commissioners, there are very few individuals in the IEBC and their influence. I know they have a bigger influence, but there are other things that we could do. There's something also Jaya talks about demonstration and picketing. No one stops us from doing that.
It's true.
And no one even stops us from stop Kenyans from getting into that office and removing the commissioners by forcefully.
Which section is that?
Is it in order?
You are holding the
Constitution.
Constitution.
Is it in
Yes.
order?
Yeah.
The
That's
Constitution
what I want to know.
on
The section.
sovereignty of the people and the supremacy of this Constitution.
Yes.
That is chapter 1. I know Jaya is a student of law. I
Yes.
thought when doing law, this is where you should start.
No. Just go
By
on.
reading
Just go on.
chapter
Chapter 1. Yes.
So, all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya.
Yes.
And shall be exercised
Exercise.
only in accordance with this Constitution.
Thank you.
Second, the people may exercise this sovereign power either directly or through their democratically elected representatives.
Thank you.
So how do they do it directly? Do you know we have the power to go to State House and eject Uhuru Kenyatta from
My
power?
friend.
Sure.
When it was done
Don't-
in Egypt.
Yeah, hold on.
We are talking about Constitution.
You're going to have it. You're going to have it, sir.
You
You are going to have it,
Constitution.
sir.
Yes.
Just hold your horses. You're going to have it.
And that is why
Yes.
I kept
Right
No.
on.
That is not the way, my friend.
Jay, it's used to
This is now
Engage us
knowledge.
more.
This is now knowledge.
Engage
It's not
us
about
more.
politicking.
You'll have
Anyway,
all the time.
proceed.
You'll have
Oh,
the
yeah,
time.
you have the time to counter him.
Proceed.
Now, yeah.
Now, in Egypt, when the people were tired with their president, they went publicly. They demonstrated. They went straight to the State House, and they actually tried to eject the president. What happened when the president asked the soldiers to shoot them? And some of them died. Do you know the president is actually in court, being charged for ordering the killing of innocent people? Because that is a right people have. The sovereignty of this country belongs to us. We can decide to use our parliamentary or
Yes.
our members of parliament.
Yes.
We can also decide not to use them, but to take the power into our hands, the people of Kenya. So the moment, and that is why, even IEBC, we have got the right to go to those offices and eject all those commissioners, because that is our constitutional right.
I want to say this.
Now, the other catch is,
Nick,
Yeah, just as
you
a
see, it's
complete.
messing up.
let me continue.
Hold on, sir.
And I want to have a small history of the Electoral Commission in Kenya and the issues that we've had since almost independence. That most of the time we have the commissioners who sometimes are always leaning towards one side. And you remember there's a time Moi used to choose the commissioners themselves, and then he also became a candidate in the elections. And most of the time the commissioners were not free and fair in the way they were running the constitution, the way they were running the elections. And that is why in 1997, Jaya was actually very prominent in civil
Very
society.
active.
Very
Actually.
active. Yeah, actually,
Yes.
that's why I say
So as a result of
Prom-
what you are holding the
prominent and
Constitution.
active doesn't change anything.
Okay.
It's not different. And in IPPG, the people decided that, look, because we are actually trying to choose a referee, why not have every political party, depending on the strength it has in parliament, suggest names to be commissioners for electoral board? Then because of that discussion, people accepted that actually would be the most fairest way of doing it. And I'm sure in IPP you must have been in
I was in Ufungamano. Even the day when they were going to parliament, I was in
Now,
Ufungamano.
after that, what happened? The commissioners were brought in, and apparently despite the fact that Moi won, actually after 97 election, so the next election was actually going to be
2012.
202.
202. Yeah.
And did anyone complain about the objectivity of commissioners? No one. But then come 20 from 202 immediately after the referendum, the opposition then, where you are talking about LDP, said, look here, because we had agreed on the IPPG, on the presentation of the commissioners, why not have similar thing? Now, Kibaki refused. By the time we are getting to 207, what happened? We are killing ourselves like dogs in this country. Now, in 2013, do you know when we got to the election, we did not even have the voters register, an authentic one voter register. We had so many of them. What am I trying to say? That we actually
you need to cut the long story short so that actually we can get time.
I'm anchoring this. I'm in charge. I'm in charge of the program.
Yes.
Now, just complete your statement.
In 2013, we, after passing the constitution, we thought that the commissioners were going to be objective,
but they are not.
Objective and effective.
You think they are not?
Objectivity and effectiveness will not allow you to take bribe, will not allow you not to have a voters register. And did we have a voter register in 2013? We didn't even have one single voter register.
I think respond to this.
I want to say the number one, Jaraganya, I want to tell you that you do not actually have that power to come and sit in this platform, try to define the constitution in my presence, and you know that I understand it. Number one, you talk about the chapter 1 of the constitution, talking about the sovereignty. That sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya. Yes. What that clause wants actually us to help us with is now we want to define on how the people themselves with the power want to govern themselves. And that's why you go down there, you've read it saying that. Now you can do it as an individual. So that power, we've actually relegated it to our people represented in parliament. Those people are also down there, in fact, county assemblies, and actually president. You get the point? Those are the people actually have been given the power. You've talked about actually chapter 6 about picketing. A minute. Let me go first. No, go first.
Just a minute.
Nani. My friend, you'll read it and interpret it for you. Yeah. Anyway, this constitution. What I'm saying is like this: we have given power actually to do the picketing. We've given power, in fact, even actually to demonstrate. We've given power within actually the law. It is there. It's anchored in the constitution. What you are only telling people. Tell me which section, anyway, because of the Bill of Rights in that chapter 6, tell me which section which telling that you can go and eject. The only thing which I know that you can get rid of actually Iebc chair or the commissioner by going to court. The court actually can take that, and what you are telling me now, then if you are talking about president is the chief of G what and police commissioners, whatever you are trying to bring, then what you are telling me, then 2010 constitution is nothing in this country. That is what you are telling me. So we never realized what we wanted. Is that what you are telling me? Then they called the team, not called the team. In fact, Raila is a person on the team because I don't know whether Nani is in called this Watengola and Nani. How do you call this guy from Mukambani? Kalonzo Musyoka. Anyway, I don't know whether they're in court. I'm squarely talking about Raila Odinga. Are you saying
why Raila Odinga in part?
It's because actually he was the pioneer of this constitution. I was part of it. Yeah. I must be actually follow it. So what I'm saying Raila needed to do, if I was him, because I don't see the reason why IBC need to go because he failed. If I was Raila, I would go to court. But because he want actually, let me tell you one thing. Even if you call Raila today for dialogue, Raila is not for dialogue. Raila want actually to create confusion so that it can help for 2017.
About Raila today.
No, I'm telling you the truth.
This debate cannot reduce to discussion.
No, but you see, that is the truth.
Now,
we are talking about,
we cannot be discussing
as far as the form is concerned.
The discussion is about Raila.
Can you get this question, Mr. Ejecting?
Yes.
Do we see an IBC that suffers serious credibility, rather integrity test? Because everybody who tends to speak, the churches spoke the other day, they were looking at this and saying, no, it can't go the way it is because credibility of this IBC is so much low. Law Society of Kenya, where you belong, I believe.
I agree. I agree.
Says, no, this commission is so much tainted. You see, opposition says this, and now Again, of course, they have their supporters. However, in an election process, in an electioneering process, where we want Kenyans to feel that this thing has been done free and fair, where all of us will be agreeable to the election results.
Let me advise you.
Do we have a commission that can really take us into 2017
I'm ready to advise you for any other person who's ready to listen. There are some things, like for example, when negotiation of remember the MOU which actually created when people were in Serena, it was not part of our constitution. What happened that the negotiation was outside, but it took a man to go and actually ask our parliamentarians to accept that thing so that it should be anchored within the constitution. I'm not saying that the commissioners cannot go. The commissioners can go. What is the formula? That's what I'm simply saying. Even me, I'm saying that if people do not have the confidence about commissioner, they can go. What is the formula? The people who are down the street know the formula. The government know the formula. But there are some people who do not want that formula. They want to create chaos. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, we are going to go for a break. We are going to go for a break, Anthony. We are going for a break. We are going for a break. We are going for a break.
As you're saying
because of time, we must go for a break because you guys, you're gonna get into one another snake here. We are going for this break. It's the Cardinal Talk. Please don't stay away. It's gonna still be hot because we want to get to know how do we come out of this kind of situation as a country. We must bring out solutions in this very program, give ideas and opinions. Please be part of it if you can on our social media, Facebook page Lolwe TV, Twitter handle at Lolwe TV, or my own Twitter handle at Nick Okelo7. Please just stay tuned. Welcome, viewers. If you are joining me right now, this debate has been so hot. In fact, at some point, I thought this place would just be on fire all over because Samson Ojiayo and Anthony Yaragenya can't just wait even for me to just anchor this program. Usually, I mean, it's just really, really hard. However, we are back to business now. We are asking this pertinent question, Anthony. As we left here, Ojiayo was actually insisting that there must be a formula. This formula cannot be running into the streets. This formula cannot be actually storming offices. This formula can't just be anything that is not procedural. You say and insist that these procedures and all these actions have their blessings inside our constitutions.
It is anchored inside the constitution.
So please, have your say there.
And I must remind Ojiayo is a student of law. And when you're doing law, you do not read the law selectively. That you read some chapters and articles and you forget about others. That you read one sentence and you forget about other words. I need to read it again to the viewers. This is chapter 1 of the Constitution. The people may exercise their sovereign power either directly, meaning they take the law into their hand, the people of Kenya, or through their democratically elected representative. In other words, they can send their MCAs, they can send their members of parliament, and they can negotiate with them. Sometimes we can decide and say, we want to do away with parliament, we want to do away with MCA, we want to be listened to and to decide how we are going to be governed and how the institutions are going to govern us.
Yeah, tell us how.
We have accepted, and everybody here in this bench accept that there are people who actually bribed these commissioners.
Okay.
The people who bribed them are actually in jail.
Okay.
The only thing that is remaining is to take these commissioners to jail.
Through mass action.
But then, how do you take them to jail?
I'm talking to Nick. You through mass action.
Just hold on, sir. Carry on, Anthony. They must be in jail. Carry on.
Through mass action.
And how do you do it? First, investigation need to be done.
Good.
Who does the investigation? Is the police. Who is the commander-in-chief of the police? Is the president. he actually even have National Intelligence Service to check and to thoroughly investigate these people. Has that been done? No. Has the president failed us with his government? Yes. Okay. Now, if the presidency, the executive has failed us, the parliament, because they talk about the tyranny of numbers, we cannot have proper legislation there. The legislative function have failed us. We must go back to the people. Now, but let me talk about the commission.
Oh, yeah,
how do you constitute it?
Yeah. What we must now give? What we must give? Hold on. Yes. What now we must give in here is now. How do we get to this thing right?
Now, because, that is the thing.
Yeah, because indeed,
indeed,
the commission is tainted. All of us are agreeable to this.
No, I don't want to say that we are agreeable to that, because what I'm seeing is a pressure which came 2013 after Cardinal election.
Just a minute, Jeff. The fact is, we've got the chicken gate scandal.
Yes.
We've got all these allegations about Iebc. As a body that is trusted with doing elections in this country, you cannot afford even an iota of a failed integrity.
The begging question. So, Jaragenya talked about the history of the electoral commission in this country.
We are helping our viewers understand what's happening here, and we want a solution. That's what I'm asking. This crisis, how do we come out of it as a country together, and then we say now we have an Iebc that all of us can trust without all this noise? That's the question here.
Now, at least it's good to understand how the commission is structured. In the appointment of the commissioners, there are actually supposed to be 8 commissioners. The first thing that would happen if these commissioners go is the president of this country will choose 4 commissioners. The Judicial Service Commissioner will actually propose the names as well. You have the business community will also propose the name. What we are saying, that if you give 4 slots to the president, and he chooses 4 out of 8 commissioners, you've already messed up the thing. It cannot be fair.
So what are you saying?
The president is actually a person who is going to participate in the election.
I want to say
so
this.
So what do we do?
Nick,
just hold it. Just hold
Nick.
it. Oh, Jeff.
Nick, we are not in the jungle.
So what do we do? What do we do? As we are saying, it is not just the commissioners going only.
Yes.
Let us reconstitute.
Reconstitute
this commission.
Yes.
And how do you do it?
Yes.
First, we must accept this thing is these commissioners and these.
Who are these to accept? Who are these to accept?
Yes.
I want to say this. Number one, what actually Jaragenya is doing is holding a very powerful document, which actually is a spiritual document in this country, known as a constitution. This is a spiritual document we have. What he's doing is now tiring one of the passes and throwing it away. If the power gives president to appoint 4, it's not the president who has done that. The people who are purported to be pioneers of the constitution, who are part and parcel, they are liable for that. So don't tell us that because it is not about your interest, so meaning that you are making the constitution with their interest in it. So let them carry their own cross and cross the river.
Who?
The people who are running down the street.
No, those are Kenyans, and they're having issues.
Thank you.
They're having issues with this constitution.
So what I'm saying, if they have the issue of the constitution, including the presidency,
and look at
there are some provisions. Jaragenya, there are some provisions in this constitution which can only take us to referendum. There are some which can do amendment in parliament. There are some. Sometimes you talk about things which should be done. Sometimes you are politicking. If you want to politic, put this one aside, then we politic. So what Nick is asking, what do we need to do as a nation? But we need to ask ourselves the bigger questions. In 1992, it was purported Mo used the same local commission to steal the election. 97, the same thing. The other time, 2007, the same thing. 2013, you're saying the same thing. Where, and they are not the same people. No, listen to this.
I'm not talking about...
Listen to this. The question is, are we saying in this country, even if we come with the... Because Kivito did not go for chicken gate, what happened to him? Everybody was all over actually abusing Kivito. People were annoyed about him. Now the question we need to ask, who are this best thing which the people who actually, even the so-called CODA, have come up with, even though they are running though the street? Because they've participated since 97, bringing the people in the constitution, but they keep on after election saying that they've been disappointed. Even if we bring another one, let me tell you, my God, what I'm seeing here. Tell COD people to go and connect with voters. Let them not run down the street and voters are there. When what Baba is now saying that he's going to Meru, that is a code thing. They need to go and talk to Marian to give them what?
This discussion cannot be reduced about Raila.
Do you know why?
Do you know why? I'm back again.
Do you know why? No, let me say one word.
Gentlemen, help our people understand this, because you are being listened to here by masses of people.
Yes.
They want to get to know from you guys. Is there a way? Is there a solution? Is there anything
There
we
is.
can do as a people to avoid
There
all
is.
this running, all this talk?
There
all
is.
This is the
because
solution.
this body, I still insist, remains one of the very cardinal bodies that are supposed to actually drive the agenda of democracy in this country. So if there
This
is
is the
any
solution.
amount
This is the
of
solution.
mistrust
Yes,
in
tell
this
us the
body,
solution.
This is
it's
the
us.
solution.
That's what we want. The solution, sir. Nothing else.
The solution. I remember in this country, we talked about the national dialogue. And I thought that was a very good thing. And some of the things that we were going to talk about, one of them was the Iebc. Because we found out whatever the kind of job they did was not good. Because even in the court, when they were asked about the legitimate register, mother register, they couldn't be able to produce it. And it took forever for them to come up with it. We've also realized that this commission had actually participated in bribery, in asking for bribe. So we asked, let's have, as a Kenyan, not politicians, as Kenyans, let's have a national dialogue to address things like corruption, our togetherness as a country, tribalism, to come together and talk. There are people who are actually told, now if you want to go and have tea in State House, no, you are free to go. But we wanted to have one country discussing our issues. We can participate in a political process. Losers will be there, winners will be there, but still we are Kenyans. And we lost it. So what is the way forward for this? The way forward for me, we have to go back to the national dialogue. Because if, Nick, we are to talk, why would you refuse to talk to me when we're actually discussing a nation? You don't need to agree with me when we're talking. You don't need to. But just sit and we talk and we say, these are the national issues that we're having.
Nick.
After talking, and the religious leaders will be there, other private sectors will be there, and people talk and say, what is the way forward?
I want to say this.
It is
I want
national dialogue.
yes,
according to
national
Jaragena.
dialogue.
Yeah.
I would like actually to concretize and cement that position. I agree. But we have two national dialogue. I cannot come in a national dialogue, we call it national dialogue, to come with a condition which I cannot meet.
Which conditions?
No, a minute. Today, if you ask Jubilee, they'll tell you, in fact, according as far as they are concerned, in 2013, Iebc did a good job for them. There are some people who are mourning outside. So they want to come with their mourning tendency into the dialogue so that you tell them, no, because they are saying, so the Iebc is bad. That is not what they are talking about. If you want a dialogue, it must be structured. And it must remain a Kenyan dialogue, not called Jubilee dialogue. You know, those are different things.
Can you ask to give us
allow
the
me, the time is not there actually, so that we start wasting
Can
time.
you tell
So
me-
when we are talking about dialogue,
To give us the solution.
let the dialogue is like, I agree with the dialogue. But the Kenyan dialogue,
Oja, give us another solution. That
so
was the solution.
my friend,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. I'm simply saying, I'm in agreement with what you are saying.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we have so many things which we need to discuss. But when you are coming, we need to create a platform, not a contest between Jubilee and a code issue. You've talked about religion, sex, and all that. Whatever now they're trying to do here, they even did it 2000 and the religious body. They did it in 2010 when they were saying no, and some other Kenyans were saying what. As we are seated here, some of us are coming from both religion background. My bishop cannot tell me where I'm going, actually. He's just a spiritual leader. When it comes to physical in this planet Earth, I have my direction. So the platform, that's what I'm saying. If they want actually a dialogue, they do not need to sit with the Jubilee or sitting with what? With
Nick,
God.
can you tell Ajay to give us a solution?
And do you think
Solution
Yeah,
is actually
this question,
a serious
answer
dialogue,
this
not
que-
actually ODM, TNA,
Get,
or
get,
whatever.
get this question. And do you think Jubilee would be open to an honest dialogue position?
Because those are also honest people. They'll go for an honest position. But if we are dealing with people who are dishonest, I cannot even attend.
So you think and know that the court side is dishonest and they cannot come on a table of discussion if they are people who are going to be having no
Are you
conditions?
telling me that as we are talking, Jaragena is seated here? Do you want to tell me that those people are not aware that dialogue can create anything and they are talking about going down the street?
Yeah,
They know.
And he says there was this opportunity that was presented that we people go for a dialogue as a country. and I think even Justice
that was
Mutunga
the
just said
emotion
that.
of actually
Now,
when Nani died and Westgate thing. Those were emotion platform where people are just giving rhetoric.
So what solution are you
The solution is actually, number one, we must respect our institutions. We must follow the law. This is our constitution. We must follow what is inside. But if you want us to work outside the law, creating something, because when you talk about dialogue, I don't know which section actually which creates it here. You got the point? Because it's not saying that you'll be a president for a certain period, then you sit with the opposition to dialogue. But you are seeing as leaders now, we are saying, can we create an environment where people can talk? But we cannot talk because you want and you're forcing me to talk with you. Talking about what?
Now,
I think I must change these gears a little bit. All of you are agreeing to the one thing here that we should have what we call a national dialogue, that we are going to face one another honestly and speak about what matters that actually affect this country. Now, dialogue must be there. I also concur with that. Now, on Tuesday, CORD has called for its supporters countrywide to storm, actually the word is to storm Iebc offices and eject, or rather, make operations there actually not possible. What do you think this one is going to achieve? Is it what you're saying, that is now the people taking powers into their hands? Is it now the people accessing the sovereign power directly? Or what is it?
and you see, I think the people have realized that the national government have failed them, because if they cannot do a proper investigation of people who have stolen money from this country, if they cannot, the legislative function cannot bring in good laws, so the people are frustrated. What do you do in that situation? You take back what you are delegated, because if I delegate a job to you, you don't assume that I can't take it back. The people seems to be taking that power because the IEBC has failed them. It's actually shrouded in a lot of corruption. They could not do a good job. They have proved it. So what do? You go for demonstration. Demonstration, actually, that constitution that
it's allowed. Demonstration and ejecting are two different things.
What I would not support. Yes. I don't believe in the use of violence, either to eject or to force your way,
tell your people,
or something like that, because that infringes on other people's rights.
Thank you.
Now, well said. Looking at Tuesday, sir, what scenario is this one gonna bring? Because I see, I even read that the IG has said that any police officer who accompanies the CORD principles to what they call it illegal, an illegal demo. Yeah, an illegal
I'm
demo.
really humbled, actually.
Would be sacked.
I'm really humbled with the last statement, actually, which Nani have made, Jaragenya.
Okay, the question here is, can you just answer this question?
Yes.
Now, do we see a situation where Tuesday would erupt into something ugly?
Yes, I'm not saying that per se, because at the end of the day, nobody will eject those guys. It's like now you are saying that you don't want the president of court. Whether you don't, because maybe you look at Willie Mutunga, you see the guy has a very ugly face, you don't need him there. He's protected. And if you want to go there, you know what will happen. It's not about IEBC.
What will happen?
That's what I'm simply saying. You cannot eject. You can demonstrate, you can picket, you can do all those things. It is in the Constitution. The Constitution is not talking about eject. So what I'm simply begging and asking young people who are in this Nairobi or in any other part of the country who are being incited to go and do that, if they can picket, they can actually demonstrate and all that. There's a way of doing it. Let them do it, and there's a time from 6 in the morning, 6 in the evening. Then you go back home. Don't destroy any other thing. Don't try, actually, you're going to eject. You'll be incited for nothing. But the question you need to ask as a young person who is down the street, what are you going to achieve at the end of the day? Because everything now is in the Constitution, and we're not going to change it now for personal gains. The president cannot do it, opposition is not going to do it. So if to end the long story on that, is that in fact, let the people who say that they are going to go down the street on Tuesday start talking with the tone of dialogue. Not with the tone of, we want to dialogue, with the tone of dialogue. You get the point? So that people can start sitting down. And when you are sitting down, must know that I'll come with my position, you come with your position, so that we agree. Sometimes it can bring a stalemate, but at the end of the day, the country have decided what they do.
That Ben Ali is not the president of Algeria today. Not because of the constitutional action, but because the people decided he would
Okay.
And in Egypt, the former president is not there because not because of constitutional
Jubilee has
issue,
the people,
but because
just to
they're
tell you,
removed.
including
And
parliament.
in Libya, his friend, he's
Yes.
not the president, not because of anything, but because
Jubilee have the
decided
people.
to-
Okay. This one now has to be closed down. Ideally, and frankly speaking, Kenya has to find a way out of this problem, because all of us belong to this country. We want a country that all of us would agree, even if we disagree on principles, but we must agree on one very important thing. This Kenya is ours, and we have a duty to maintain peace and development always. Thank you very much, guys, for coming. It's been very heated. I know this is a very emotive topic right now. From both sides, Jubilee and CORD, it's been really hot, and everybody is holding on to their positions. It's our prayer and belief that this program will help people see some sense into what is going on to happen on Tuesday and even in future to come. My position is that this country needs all of us without discrimination. My name is Nico Kelo. This has been your topic, Iebc crisis. However, anchored and presented by you, from LTN. As usual, please don't stay away. This program will keep us on and on until we find what we call is supposed to be good for all of us. Till we meet again on Sunday, please don't stay away. This is LTN. Other programs will come in, so keep watching.